now.
Okay.
At first, had a question about, because we also had a meeting for tomorrow.
Yes.
Maybe it's better if we schedule that one, because otherwise it's just like really
Back to back.
Yeah. So we thought we won't meet tomorrow, but on the 12th we already have an appointment. And maybe on Friday the 15th. I don't know. How is it for you?
I have to be at the hospital that day.
Other day. Look.
What about the 14th?
I have to be at the hospital that day. Is that our third meeting?
Yeah.
We have two more after this, right?
Yes. One on the 12th, and then we'll have one more.
But we can also look after the meeting on the 12th, how many time we will need, and then we will take a look which day we will meet again. Or
we could do that. Just do the 12th and then pick a day.
Okay, great.
The 12th at 8 a.m., right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, so today we talk about a family crisis we've experienced.
Yes.
Okay.
1 second. I'm gonna plug my headphones into my phone to see if I can hear you guys better.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I can hear you a lot better. Sorry, I was like, could barely hear you. All right. So sorry, I just walked in the door because I apparently didn't know that. Whatever you call it, we had the time change.
Yeah, we also.
We didn't really think about that, but okay.
So is your guys' assignment, does it say each person to present the family crisis they are familiar with?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and then we have to pick one, and on that one we have to find articles and.
Okay. What did you guys write discuss your crisis that you have dealt with? What was yours on?
My crisis? Yes. I wrote it down. Maybe I start crying, so sorry.
No, that's okay. It's hard to talk about.
Yeah. And I hope my English is okay. But in February in 2017, I went for an internship to Berlin for 6 months. I worked as a nurse in a hospital. But in April 2017, my dad became ill and his body was yellow, but we still didn't know what was wrong. After multiple researches in different hospitals, the diagnosis was gallbladder cancer. At that moment, it feels like my world fell apart. I went home and my dad got an operation, which was supposed to take 8 till 9 hours, but lasts 19 hours. Mm-hmm. After the operation, my dad was very ill. His blood pressure was low and his breathing wasn't what the doctors accepted. He had a pulmonary embolism. The doctor said he has to do it all by himself and we can't do anything for him. But after 2 weeks on the intensive care and 4 weeks on a regular department in the hospital, he went home. But this wasn't it. Last May in 2019, he became again yellow. The fear was back. He went again to the doctor and he brought the terrible news. If we don't do anything, he won't get it to the weekend. It was Wednesday. My world fell down again. The doctors did an intervention which helped, but we all know he won't live long. On May the 24th, my dad died as a result from gallbladder metastasis. He was only 54 years old. At us as a family, the death of my dad had a huge impact. In the 2 years between it, we lived very intense. We celebrated life. We also became very close, because now we know all that matters in life is family and friends. For me as a nurse, I can understand patients and their families when something like this happens to them. I really know how they feel. I'm an experienced expert. It's terrible what happened, but I hope I can help my patients, even if it's just for a little bit.
That was really well written. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
That's like very recent, and
Yeah.
did that have an impact on you choosing nursing, or you already had
I already had.
but that just makes it that much more you wanting to go into it because you have that empathy for others.
Yeah, true.
That's so hard. I don't even know what to say, but
it's okay.
that was really well written.
Yeah,
Thank
your
you.
English is great.
Thank you.
Dat was ook mij volgens mij. Ik moet hem even opzoeken.
You guys see my puppy in the background?
Oh my god.
Ah.
So cute. Okay.
Oh, dit is
Baby?
verkeerde. Ja, wacht. Ik moet even... I need to find it in my email.
Je hebt het verzonden.
Ja.
Ja.
Nou, het
Is it working or not?
Nee.
I can try.
Yeah. I got it. When I was around 12 years old, my mother had a depression. In the beginning of it, I didn't recognize it. She didn't show her feelings to me and my sister. The cause of her depression are multiple things. At first, she was overworked, and second of that, she had a difficult childhood that she didn't process. All different things together made her fall in depression. Her depression got worse and worse by the time. At one point, she got suicidal thoughts. At this point, she was put in a healthcare facility for mental diseases called the BAS. The moment that happened, it became clear for me and my sister what was going on with our mother. Our dad helped out with getting us understanding why this was happening right now. My mom was in the facility for 6 months. After that, she was able to go home more often. First, just a couple hours a day, then weekends, and after that, she came back home permanently. In total, this took a year, but even after that year, there was still a process of lots of therapy and getting back into society. At us as a family, this all had a big impact. My dad worked full time and had to run a family on his own and had to stand by his wife to support her. My sister is 2 years older than me and had to take over all the tasks that my mom did before. For me personally, didn't change that much, but I tried to cheer everybody up in the house to keep them positive. When I was around 15 years old, I started to process everything that has happened. Happily, I had amazing friends that supported me in this difficult time. I also had the chance to talk to my mom about everything that happened. After that, I understood better about how she felt. This outcome is the outcome of this whole thing is that we grow as a family. We stood by each other's sides and helped each other when someone was sad. My mom is also doing a lot better, but depression never gets fully away. Sometimes she falls back in depressive thoughts. At that point, it is hard sometimes to deal with. But we recognize her behavior very well, and we can step in when she gets to the negative. It will be a process that will be there for a lifetime, but it will get better every year. And for nursing, it's important to also stand by the family, so you can explain to the families what is going on and what is going to happen and everything like that. But I didn't write that down yet.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I've dealt with mental health in my family too, and it's hard, especially when you're that young.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're forced to grow up and mature and take care of your siblings. So
yeah,
that's hard.
Yeah.
Should I go next, Natalie?
It's up to you.
Okay. So mine's about divorce, but background information. My mom and dad got a divorce when I was 2, then my dad got remarried. And so my stepmom was kind of just like a mom to me all of my life. So that's my background, so it makes sense. I kind of wrote a lot, so I'll just do a summary of it. So my senior year of high school, my dad came home from work one day to find out my stepmom had completely packed all her belongings and left. She left a note and said she was unhappy. She already told my brother and sister, and they were at my grandma's house. As you can imagine, my dad was completely devastated. This was an out-of-the-blue crisis. This happened before I was playing in my senior year state tennis tournament. Making it to the state tennis tournament was something I had worked for all of high school. So my dad didn't want me to find out, so he called me and told me to go stay at a friend's house for the night because everyone in my family was sick. I had a feeling something was going on. I was at a friend's house and my little sister FaceTimed me and asked why mom and dad were getting a divorce. This was how I found out. So I was completely speechless. I didn't want to tell my dad I knew yet. This was completely unexpected. I had never seen them fight or argue. I tried to ignore my feelings until after the tournament. My dad was there watching me. The second I was done playing, I broke down on the court crying and told him I had found out. This next year of my senior year was filled with lots of sadness and anger. Watching your dad be so heartbroken and not being able to fix it is one of the hardest things I've experienced. My stepmom completely stopped talking to me. This was extremely hard for me because she was a mother figure to me. My stepmom's whole family that I considered my own all stopped talking to me. I felt like all this side of the family died, but they just were forbidden to talk to me. My grades dropped. I had no interest in going to college. I gained a lot of weight and was very depressed. I finally got motivation to apply to college, and I ended up not getting accepted. I became even very more depressed knowing that I wasn't even able to get into college. Luckily, my high school advisor helped me write a letter of appeal as to my situation, and I ended up getting accepted. Then the day before I went to college, my dad told me that they were getting back together. She told him her mental health was not good. She made a mistake. It was her mental illness that made her make the decision, not her. And my dad told her he made a commitment to her and it's what was best for my brother and sister. So she moved back home the day before I went to college. And I was very sad and worried that the same thing was going to happen again. So then they were back together, and my dad described it as their best year of marriage. He assured me I had nothing to worry about, that this was her mental disease, not her. She was getting help. And then my sophomore year of college, he texted me and said, "Do you have anything going on this week?" And I said, "No." So he called me and told me that the same thing happened again. He came home from work, she packed up all her stuff and left. I felt really worried and heartbroken because I wasn't home to help my family go through this. I didn't know what to think because this is the second time she did that. She filed divorce papers right away, and I haven't had any contact with her since. So it was really hard for me because my whole family was heartbroken. I was trying to get into the nursing program. Every day I was worried that my dad's health was going to decline because of the amount of stress he felt. So basically the outcome of this crisis had a bunch of emotions. Like the negative things where I was constantly worried my family was heartbroken and broken up. My siblings were so sad and confused, which was really hard for me. The timing of everything was super hard because I was trying to do well in school while knowing this was all going on at home. But I think through all of this, me and my dad and my brother and sister all got very close. We realized like we have each other. He became my biggest support system and continued to push me to do my best and understand that my life can still be whatever I make it. And I think this can be helpful for me as a nurse because I'm able to like sympathize with people, and like you never know what people are going through, because like for me, like I didn't really tell many people at school this was happening. So it's just being aware that even if your patient is in the hospital sick, they might have a whole complete other crisis going on, and just to be sensitive. And if someone's like grumpy or just unhappy or irritable, like you just never know what someone's going through. So to always just be kind and positive and helpful to your patients so you can be a positive impact in that area. So yeah.
Wow.
Sorry, I just mumbled through like all of that, but
Thank you for sharing, Amber.
Yeah, thanks.
I know her whole life story.
I would have never thought that people like across the country would also know like our life stories.
Yeah.
Across the world, not across the country.
Well.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wrote my crisis about divorce too, just like a little bit different perspective, but I'll read my paper.
Yeah.
So my family underwent a significant crisis when I was beginning my freshman year of high school. My parents, married for 20 years, decided to separate and get a divorce. At the time, my siblings and I were confused as to why this was happening. It was difficult to understand at such a young and naive age. However, my dad simply fell out of love with my mom and was no longer happy. I'm the youngest of 3 kids. My brother and sister are 4 and 5 years older. Therefore, at the time of the separation, my brother was off to college and my sister was also making the transition. My entire family was impacted by this situation. However, my siblings felt guilty that I was still living at home in the midst of such a troubling time. Along with my siblings, my mom was confused and broken. It was a troublesome time for my family, and we still have our struggles. However, ultimately, I believe this crisis helped us grow in our individual relationships with one another and empathize with those who have endured a heartbreaking family crisis such as divorce. The divorce of my family had a unique impact on all members of my family. The relationship my siblings and I had with my dad was compromised. We were all angry and confused with him. My dad moved out of our family home, and my siblings and I felt a sort of obligation to stand by our broken mom. My siblings were able to escape the emotional dysfunction at home. However, I was caught in the middle of the crisis between my parents because I was still there. Fortunately, my extended family provided a huge support system for me and my siblings. It was hard for my siblings and I to see our mom mourn and be away from my dad and visiting him at his new home. I spent most of my time at my family home that I grew up in and didn't see my dad as often. The relationship between my mom and I was compromised due to ineffective ways of coping through drinking, and she had mental health. She was depressed. It was hard for me to see my mom cope this way, and oftentimes we would just get angry. However, my mom had my siblings and I go to therapy to talk about the crisis within our family, which I think helps in the long run. Although my parents do not remain in contact, my siblings and I are close with both our mom and dad. Divorce is a family crisis that takes time to overcome. Some families may never overcome a divorce, but I believe my family has adjusted well to our new normal. I still worry about my parents' relationships and hope that one day they are able to be in contact and completely civil. As my siblings and I get older and time goes on, I believe they would do anything for us to be civil and have a healthy relationship. My siblings and I often talk about our future weddings and when we have children. These are ample times in our life where we hope to see our parents unite together and we can all be as one. It is still tough sometimes for everyone in my family. Overall, the growth of my family has benefited from the divorce, and for that I'm grateful. It has put me through a tremendous amount of troubles, but I have grown so much stronger from it. My siblings and I have close relationships with our parents, and that is something we are lucky to be able to have remaining after such a tough change. We have struggles mentally with personal relationships, but my siblings and I are very vocal to each other, with one another about these troubles. The ability to have such open communication within my family is something I do not take for granted. I believe my siblings and I are able to be more empathetic for those who have endured such a crisis. It has allowed us to be more aware and emotionally sensitive towards others and what may be going on behind closed doors of their family home. I truly believe that you never know what someone else is going through, and for that I strive to be kinder than necessary. The struggles my family went through allowed for personal growth and growth within my family. I guess the greatest takeaway for me is that the reminder that a crisis looks different for each family. For my instance, sometimes divorce is an expected outcome. Other families, 2 or 3 divorces is when it becomes a crisis. Understanding this and empathizing with families of divorce is what I continue to strive for in life as my role as a nurse. Family crisis is inevitable, but going through such a difficult time within a family helps me gain strength and listen to others. So yeah, I basically just read my paper. Sorry, but
Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I think something they all kind of have in common is just like you never know what people are going through, because that's like obviously on us all first meeting, you would never guess like any of us have gone through these things. So just being kind to everyone, and yeah.
I think
so
we have
go
to
ahead.
one of the crises and work further on that one.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about like mental health? Because I think that's maybe something they all have in common. Like,
Yeah.
Each crisis had kind of something to do with either our mental health or someone we love's mental health.
Yeah.
Maybe something, the depression part of the
Yeah, because I think mental health is like
too big.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Should we focusing on depression, or go ahead, Natalie?
Yeah, we could like focus in on like specifically like depression or I don't know. I'm speaking for myself, but like I've seen like mental health in my family is along the lines of like depression and like alcohol abuse. So, and I think those can kind of go hand in hand. But I don't know if we want to get that specific. It's up to you guys, but I think it'd be a good topic to research. And
yeah, the you kind of like hoe leg je dat uit? The use of alcohol or the impact of alcohol on a depression.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's something that you guys would be interested in?
Yeah.
Talking more about?
For sure.
And
I feel like there'll be some good articles out there on that.
Yeah.
Maybe
we can talk about the impact of alcohol when someone has a depression, or slash the use of alcohol when someone has a depression, like I'm so depressed I'm taking more and more and more.
Yeah.
We could do like the effect of like also on like family members of someone that has depression or struggles with alcohol abuse.
Yeah.
That's good.
So then so we all like kind of research and go in depth and find articles and write about that specifically, and then we'll present it on Zoom. Or actually, so we'll meet again once we've
next week.
Yeah, the 12th.
Okay.
And then we will discuss some articles that we find.
And then, because that'll prepare us for our final meeting, and that's when we'll present and record. Okay. Do you guys use like Google, like sharing docs or whatever?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I don't know if we're allowed to do that, but like if we could like create a document that we could all contribute to, just be so that we're not like, so you can see what articles we're finding and you guys are finding.
Yeah.
But I think most of our articles will be in Dutch.
Oh yeah. Could have had a V8.
You can try reading it.
Try it.
Perfect.
I don't know any Dutch words.
Yeah.
You can say hello. It's like hi.
Hello.
Hollow.
Yes.
Like a hollow hole.
But we can search articles and they could be in Dutch, and we can like just like a little bit. How do you call it?
Summary.
Yeah, thank you. In English for you, so you know
where it's about.
You guys have such good English, I forget that it isn't your primary language.
Yeah, and we just only know one language.
It's okay.
Okay, well, or we can just still use GroupMe or whatever it's called. WhatsApp.
Yeah. We can see.
So do each of us find maybe one article, do you think? One or two? I don't know.
Yeah, I think one in the end.
Okay. I mean, yeah, and if you find like really two good ones, or we find two good ones, we can do more than one, but
yeah, if you found one really good one, that's okay for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. Do we submit anything for this meeting?
I don't know, but I will like upload it again on YouTube, so you can get the link if you need it.
Okay.
Even kijken, dan moeten we de volgende keer doen. Kijk, bij hun is
het says
nu of dan? Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't specify whether or not we turned it into our instructor, but it just says that we agree what information we'll research.
Yeah.
And then meet next time.
The link of the recorded meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
You.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for the next time, we all have an article, and we have to look in how the health systems work in your country and in our country.
So we can tell
by mental illness.
Yeah,
okay.
that would be interesting because I don't know. I know it's like really prevalent here, so
it's really different.
Yeah, they changed a lot over here also.
Yeah.
What was that?
The health systems
in your country,
and our country.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys have like free healthcare?
Yeah. You everybody needs to be insured.
Insured.
Yeah.
Everyone is like insured though, aren't they?
Everybody. You can't live without it. It's not possible.
Oh. Wow. Yeah, so I'll be moving to Europe.
Yeah.
But then you pay like every month like 100 euros.
You can choose like a
just the basic one.
Yes.
Just like dental and whatever, and you can do like the top one. Do you have physio? How do you call it?
The physiotherapy, dentists,
just
hospitals,
a lot,
everything.
And you pay every month, and then you have free.
Yeah, like unlimited.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's amazing.
But if you don't use it, you still pay for it.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
kind of
That's the other side.
But
Wow, that's nuts.
to move there.
yeah,
Yes.
that's fine.
All right. Well,
It's okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for
So-
sharing your crisis.
yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
you
too.
Sorry about the confusion with the time,
Oh,
but
yeah, but us also time changed. So
okay.
because now there's like 7 hours between you and us.
Yeah, because we went 1 hour
Six?
backwards.
Yeah, but we also went backwards.
So no,
Huh.
it's we just didn't.
So you're like 5 is our 10 instead of
It's
So-
now 5:45.
okay. So you guys meeting us at
Oh no. So now you guys are 8. Wait.
7.
Wow.
It's
All right.
6
no,
p.m.
7.
Okay, because it's 10:45 a.m. here.
Wacht, I'm gonna write it down. Of wat is
It's
it?
like 7 hours then, right?
7 hours. 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. 5:45.
Nice. Okay.
All right. So 8 a.m. on November 12th, next Tuesday.
Yes.
Well, 8 a.m. for us.
Guys, for us it's
3 p.m.
ja, dan nog steeds 8, 9, 10,
11, 12, 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
fine.
Perfect.
Have a nice day. We will go out for dinner because it's
The end of our
Oh.
afternoon. Yes.
Oh, enjoy your dinner.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
Enjoy your breakfast.
Yeah.
All right.
Fine.
We'll talk to you soon.
Yes.
Yeah, see you next week.
Bye.
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 Stop recording.